Namaste. Very good evening to our program. This is our weekly program entitled Talk with Home. We bring very outstanding personalities of our society so that we can give positive messages and empower our youth. Today here I have brought a well-known professor who is associated with Kathmandu University, Tulikal. This is Professor Shrestha. He is PhD holder from Japan and visiting professor from Michigan University in the United States. He has been engaging in many different projects empowering the Nepalese youth, whereas some other youths from different other countries as well. Here, let me introduce you, Professor Shrestha. Welcome, Professor Shrestha.
Yes. Very good evening, Prof.
So, how are you?
Yeah, doing great. Yeah, this is a really giving us an opportunity as well as a chances to work in these difficult situations, and it's very nice. Yeah,
it's my pleasure.
It looks so gorgeous, very fantastic, very cool. Yeah.
Thank you for your best compliments. Okay, Professor, I have overheard that you have been engaging in different international level projects to promote Nepalese youth.
Yeah.
Will you just highlight in this regard?
Yeah, see, as you mentioned in my introduction itself, it has been really being a challenge when I decided to come to Nepal from US after completing my study, because in our time in Nepal still a lot of difficulties in getting higher education. So I had to go to India, then from there went to Japan, then United States, and finally came back. You know, it was really that time very difficult. Whether coming back to Nepal from US, I could really utilize my knowledge here and all. But I'm so lucky and so fortunate to work with my friends and my families who has supported me so long, and bringing, sometimes I used to say it's not like I remain there in the US or in Japan, but I somehow try to bring the ambience and the climates or the some sort of opportunities that existed in West into Nepal. Somehow I try to bring the opportunities that existed there back in Nepal, and it's my really privilege. If I look back to my 2 decades working at university systems, I feel really sometimes honored that I could at least create some opportunities for Nepalese youth to get interacted and connected with how the development endeavors is going in the developed part of the world. Yeah. I'm really happy and satisfied with my coming back to Nepal and serving my motherland. Yeah.
It's highly appreciable, right?
Yeah.
And how have you contributed to create win-win situations for mutual benefits, but the students from the USA and Nepal?
Yes, this is a very interesting question, very timely, and recently, you see, I received some support to get connected Nepalese students, and we try to bring the students from a different leading university in the United States and come to Nepal, and we will have some sort of kind of a mutual interaction program in Nepal itself, and that way this has, I really thank Public Affairs Office at the US Embassy here in Kathmandu, who has been supporting. Last year, a couple of years back also, they supported us to go to US and see and develop some memorandum of understanding with a different leading university in the US. Last year, of course, it was a COVID, we couldn't do much, but they supported us to organize international workshop here in Kathmandu in Nepal, and there we organize event. And this year particularly, it has been a year as a topic coincides empowering the youth to unblock their potential in entrepreneurship arena, meaning that we try to bring the students from US or the Nepalese youth working in the government sector and the Nepalese students studying at Kathmandu University. We try to bring them together, and bringing these all students, we try to see how the opportunities in social entrepreneurship is existing in Nepal. What are some of the untapped resources that existed in a rural community or in a Nepalese society that could be tapped or that could be converted into entrepreneurship outforce? Or how we can prepare our future generation to combat the climate change. The climate change is creating it touches all. It touches all. Yeah. So
it's a burning issue, a global burning issue.
Yeah, we are trying to prepare our youth both locally and globally. Sometimes we call global. Global means global knowledge with a local technology, local connectivity in a global arena. So this kind of network is we are planning to do this year. Let's see how this COVID situation goes. If the situation allows, maybe we would be able to bring physically the students from US to Nepal, and we can have a physical interaction program that is designed for a month from now. If not, then we may go for some hybrid scenario where students from Nepal and students from United States, they can have connections through this internet and this other this IT means.
Of course, we all are facing this terrible pandemic situation. Everybody is getting a big problem. Everyone has been affected, and it's really very difficult to manage the things. Nothing has remained common now, normal now, right? And the government is imposing lockdown, lots of other restrictions regarding coronavirus control. That's why our life has not remained really very normal, I know. Though, in your project so far, are you very much satisfied with the supports financially, infrastructures and other facilities on behalf of Nepalese government?
See, many people who happen to, because a lot of friends, because not only me at that time, went for a study abroad. I went to study in Japan, then as I said in US, spent quite a long time there, almost 8 years. And most of our friends remained back in those countries, and they were afraid that, wow, going to Nepal, there must be a lot of financial hiccups, may not be able to do as they wish. But so far I feel, coming back to Nepal, my journey has been so smooth and so well, organized. Meaning is that I never faced such kind of problems, one. Two, though I always, the problem, there was always, the light in other side of tunnel. I can always see some sort of solution in the problems. And the funding has never been problem, so far I can tell. Why I'm saying this, I was never running after the money. I was never running after the fund. Rather, I was changing the idea. Changing the idea means bringing youth in the mainstream of, say, national development, making their unplugged potential to be harnessed through the entrepreneurship endeavors. And this, whatever projects that we develop in Nepal, as I said before, like related to climate change, energy, agriculture, or some social entrepreneurship, it has really created, the avenues for such projects to be funded by different developmental partners. And government of Nepal, I must say, I must be very thankful to government of Nepal. I got a lot of support, very good support from government.
I guess because of your result-oriented projects, you're hardworking, you have been connected with many the fund association organizations also. Will you mention some?
To tell some of the first project, the first funding grant I received was from IFS, International Foundation of Science, that is based in Sweden. It was a very competitive grant. I was working on trying to see the image processing techniques for the fluvial particle monitoring in a Bagmati River. And this has really gave us a fantastic opportunity to train some of my master's students for them to prepare their thesis, and they got published, and now they are doing their master's and PhD in some of the leading universities in the US. This was the first triggering part. Of course, it was not a very big amount. It was something about IFS, young professional, this research grant. It was $10,000 or something like that. So that was my first international research grant that I received on a competitive basis. Later, I got several supports. I must say, I must thankful for Nepalese government for facilitating me and putting me in a very important position in the university systems where I could get connected myself with different international development partners.
Okay, Professor Shrestha, is there any specific criteria to get selection of the students, the participants?
Yes, a very good question. This is something like we will be making announcement after some of the official procedures that we'll be doing on behalf of Kathmandu University with the U.S. Embassy in Kathmandu. Some sort of a fund transfer agreement will be done in order to get this State Department support at Kathmandu University. After having done, we will make an announcement like this public media, like a talk with the home. This show, I think, this is also one of the very good show that we can make. We can call the students to make a. We'll have some sort of a criteria. It should be, normally we can have in a three criteria. First, the idea must be the students who wants to participate in this program. They must have, the idea must be innovative. It should not be very conventional kind of. It must be innovative. Two, it must be interdisciplinary. It should not be only monodiscipline. It should not be only literature, only art, only science. It should have some interconnection, in cross-cutting kind of a scenario. And third, it must be transboundary. It should not be only limited to Nepal, or it's not. It should have some connectivity with a transboundary, means a cross-border, maybe with India or with China or with Bangladesh or within the region and beyond that regionality. So having three things, their motivational letter, we try to get a motivational letter from the aspiring students to participate in this program, and we'll have a fair judgment, and we try to see how effectively they put themselves in a competition, and we'll select the Nepalese students. Similarly, we'll also have some government employee, some government employees, they can also participate, because a young government employee will try to see those who are working in the government of Nepal, and we'll bring some American students.
So what is the yes bar for young? And you better know that most of the politicians, Nepalese politicians, they say they are young still.
You see, even of course, I'm not a politician. I can't talk much about politics, but Nepalese bureaucracy is a very stable and very disciplined, I can say. Nepalese bureaucratic personnel are very much, what today we are in a lot of turmoil, a lot of ups and downs in both in naturally as well as a man-made disaster has happened so many times. But the Nepalese government, in spite of very limited resources, has been able to keep the government bureaucracy moving on. Meaning there is a really talented people who work in a government system. So there is a age bar also, meaning we can't see when we say youth, there is a Ministry of Youth. Youth has some definition for how to categorize the youth. So we'll just follow the guidelines set by the government of Nepal in order to classify the standardized form of the youth, their age.
I see. So will you just let me know that some outcomes you have attained, right, after accomplishing your different projects?
Yeah, one of the very interesting, that is an ongoing project at Kathmandu University that currently we are working on, is support from the Korean government. I really thank the government of Korea for providing this integrated rural development program where the entrepreneurship that existed in the rural areas that has never been taken care of. They have been ignored for centuries. We are trying to explore what a possibility exists in a rural society, how it could be converted into economic power. So this is how we are working on with this integrated rural development program, and as a result of that, very soon at Tulukel we will be establishing Nepal Technology Innovation Center that will cater in particularly in three areas: agriculture, energy, and health related livelihoods. So these three sectors we are trying to work, and I'm very thankful to Korean government, and this is one of the flagship projects that I could say, and I've been able to engage the youth, especially researchers and others. They are so energetically working, and yes, this is one of the projects.
And I have heard that you have been, you are appointed as the chairperson of a wing formed by the Israeli embassy, Shalom, that is called
Shalom means namaskar in Nepali. Yeah.
Shalom is namaskar. I see. So what this this group is doing?
Yeah, see, Nepal has a long diplomatic history with Israel. The first elected government of Nepal, that is in year 2017, about 60 years back, they supported the country, state of Israel first time. And Nepal was the first country in this continent, and it's followed by India even. And that's why the 60 years, 6 decades of Nepal-Israel relation has traveled, lots of ups and downs, and the Nepal-Israel relation has been well seasoned. And I am connected with Israel because I have been trained in Israel for part of my training, engineering. I did my ag engineering training program in Israel, and under supportship of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Government of Israel, that is a Mashab we call. And this is a Shalom Club. We have about 3,000 members in the Shalom Club. This is a wing of the returnees of those who got a training under this government scholarship sponsorship program in Israel. And unfortunately, the former president of this Shalom Club, Mr. Dr. Ravin, who is a former vice chair of the National Planning Commission, he passed away due to the COVID. COVID, and even there was a vacuum, and I was selected or elected, whatever you say. I got an opportunity to be part of this Shalom Club, and I have been now in it. Of course, any Shalom Club member can be a president or chairperson, but I happen to be in the driving seat now. I'm leading this entire Shalom Club members. It's about 3,000 members, and Israel has done a lot.
What is required things to be the member of that?
Yes, for someone to be in a Shalom Club, you have to be, been attended the course offered by the government of Israel through Mashab. Mashab is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of government of Israel. So once you have attended those programs, then only you become eligible to become a Shalom Club member.
Is this informal program or academic?
Yes, this is some sort of a get together, some sort of coming together to disseminate the ideas, concept of Israeli embassy to the common people. 1, 2, the people level of diplomacy, doing some sort of letting people know about such a small country Israel, how it is surviving in such a difficult situations in Arab continent. So this is some sort of a diplomatic wing of a Israeli embassy, and we do some sort of a people to people level interconnection, getting Israeli know-how, technology transfer in a Nepalese society. And we have earmarked several areas, like we work in agriculture, higher education, health, public administrations, education sectors, and all. Yeah.
What is the required academic qualifications to get this support?
Someone who just completed
every layman.
Anyone who has completed
can get.
Someone who has completed their training program in Israel can be. But it must be under Mashab. Mashab means Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Government of Israel.
I see. And you got your PhD from Japan, I guess Tokyo University.
No, it was in Kyushu. It was in Miyazaki University and Kagoshima University.
What are the similarities of the students from out there and here?
Yes, I do see, individual level, I must say very honestly and very frankly, individually, I work with a Japanese university system. I can speak Japanese also.
That's great.
Yeah, having learned their language, I really sensed some sort of inner part of the society. Individually, I think Japanese students and Nepalese students, we almost stand in the same,
maybe there are certain features, tips that can be adopted by Nepalese students.
Yeah, one thing, the history of Nepal-Japan relations in terms of this academic collaboration is very long. During Rana region, See, the Rana regime, that time itself, Nepal government sent a good number of Nepalese students to study in Japan, and they returned back and they did a lot of work, some in agriculture, some in mechanical engineering, some in medical sectors. It has been a fantastic, people relations. As you asked, the capacity, the Japanese students, Nepalese students, but one thing is there, the Japanese students, when they are in a group, they are very strong and a group work.
I see. That's what I want to know.
But in Nepalese student, individually, our Nepalese student is a very good. But when they come to work in a group, we are not so good in the teamwork. So,
this may be a good message, tip to Nepalese students here.
This is one thing, major thing that I learned and missed. I say is, the Japanese students, they work in a group and they believe, they have faith on their counterpart. Whatever their friends is telling, they will do. And next, so it's a kind of baton pass they do in the science and technology. And every time they move one step ahead when a new project comes. But here,
okay, Professor Shrestha, I would like to know whether you have got any other projects in which you can get involved students from community-based schools.
Very good. Yeah, see, at our university, because currently the new emerging area is implementation science. Implementation means in Nepalese university systems, we can't think much of a discovery type of technology. We can't discover new things and all. But knowledge transfer, technology transfer from campus to community, from lab to land, is a very essential and very important. You see, in Nepal, how many universities are there? Hardly there are 12, 13, 14 universities. But when you say the schools, the number of schools are thousands of schools are there that is spread all over the country. This is like a pyramid. If you see even in schooling system, the fundamental primary students are more, then Nimabi, then that way it goes like a pyramid.
I got it, yes.
So if you really want to change the society, you have to touch the school level educations, where we can really trickle down the technology at the grassroots level through the school education systems. So for example, one of the programs that I'm currently running is on sanitations. Sanitation technology that we run at higher education at master's level program at Kathmandu University, Tribhuvan University and Pokhara University. And I have seen in Japan, they don't teach sanitation. In fact, they practice sanitation,
I've also heard that from the very beginning, primary level children, they
have to go clean the toilet by themselves. See, this sanitation is not the subject to be taught. In fact, it is the subject.
It has to be brought into practice.
Exactly.
Yes.
This is how I believe. This is Japan. As I said before, this is a community education system. Whatever technologies that we develop in higher education level, if you want to change the society, if you want to uplift, it should be always a bottom-up approach. And the community schools need to be empowered, and the knowledge that has been developed. Of course, higher knowledge cannot develop at that level. Higher knowledge has to be developed at a university level or say some research centers and with some global partnership and collaboration. And this knowledge becomes of no use unless and until they get connected with the local community. I always say, very important Korean philosopher, he was coining the word called glokal. Glokal means with the local needs, how you get connected with a global community.
I know.
Okay, global community getting connected with the local community, and this local community getting connected with the global community, this being a kind of win-win situation where knowledge developed at the university get translated or practiced at a grassroots level, and the country becomes, the way we want, so-called the development that we can have. See, not only in Japan, even you see most of the developed countries, the government gives utmost priority or big trust to educate, to translate to community schools, so that they are empowered. They have a very fundamental, very implementable knowledge being practiced at the school.
Okay, Professor Shrestha, as an expert, and you have traveled a lot in the world, and you have just got to a lot of adequate experiences, right? So, would you give certain, very fruitful message to the government of Nepal, bureaucrats, schools, administrators, and students all?
I must say, yeah, this is a very good. You are asking me to say connectivity. Of course, government of Nepal, bureaucracy, they are fantastic people. They are they are cream of society that are in a bureaucracy. But what I always believe is that the challenges are new now. The old technologies cannot be used to combat the new challenges. So the challenges comes from. It doesn't come within your society. It comes all over.
Let me tell you. I'm sorry. I have seen some even very aged teachers nowadays conducting online classes. They have learned how to use laptop and smartphones just for the sake of running online classes. They are forced to do it. Yeah. This is a new thing.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. You see, when typist position is no more in a government service. Someone who anyone can type, and once you have a computer, it used to be typist. Yes. Maybe in future, when we have a car that doesn't need driver, you will not have any position for driver sometimes. Sure. So in that way, the technology is changing very fast. And now what I want to, as you asked me to give, what could be tips for government people and bureaucrats? I think they need to understand how the world is changing, how the education system is changing all over the world. And they must be given several kind of interactive programs and orientation and capacity development, and see, because the student, of course, in university system, what we teach the students, they are at the final stage. But the students at the school level, especially community schools. I studied in a government school in Nepal. I always feel pride and telling that, having graduated from one of the government school in Nepal, there's a Nepal Adarsh Madhyamik Vidyalaya. I really feel proud. I always tell, I never feel, kind of deprived not having studied in English medium school, so called at that time. I never had any difficulties. So these government schools need to be empowered, and they need to be given.
That's it. This is the main point.
They need to be given tools and equipments to combat and to assimilate the modern technology, so that because this is a mass level of people,
Yeah.
That's why.
Okay. How are you socializing nowadays? You better know that everyone is just having bad days just because of this coronavirus.
Yeah, see, this corona has not, left anyone behind. Everybody is touched.
It has become global.
It has become a global, or it has become, say, very much engraved in your lifestyle, the way you communicate with your family, the way you teach, the way you behave in a social gatherings and all. Now also I'm maintaining 1.5 meter distance, and just
we have used sanitizer.
Yeah, I could encourage myself to use on marks myself. It has completely changed, and in fact it's good also in a way that it has given a sense of consciousness in terms of combating such kind of pandemics.
So let's have a positive aspect as well from coronavirus too. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, yes. Anyway, let's hope very soon we will get freed from this tremendous problem all across the globe. And see, you have given me really your precious time. I'm very much thankful to you, Mr. Professor, right, to be with me, to come to my program. I do hope we will see in other programs in future as well. So thanks for coming. Thanks for joining this program.
Yeah. It's my pleasure, and again I must say the H channel people, it's really fantastic. Please invite me, person like me or so many other. I can introduce more of my colleagues who has been working, who has been, I always believe that media has been like a voice of the voiceless people, and the people what have been doing, should be communicated, and their work should be well acknowledged. I really appreciate H channel through my friend Om Shankar ji, through this Talk with Om program.
Okay, thank you very much once again. Thank you very much, dear respected audience, to be with us. I will be back with the program at the same time next week with another outstanding personality. Till then, Goodbye. Namaste.